Hello Print Society, Jay here with Elegant Edits. So when you build a good relationship with your clients, it could be a blessing and a curse almost, because while you want to offer really great customer service, you might come through for a client and print on something that you normally wouldn't, but that sometimes that can open the door for them bringing you things like this and asking for you to print on them, or this. I mean, this is like felt. This is all of these are Michael Kors. Well, just hang on. I'll save the best for last. Hang on. Yeah, and we've DTF'd, DTF'd, or we've DTF printed on leather before, but I'll explain to you why you should proceed with caution with some of these things. Okay, let me be careful here. Hope that is still in focus. Look at this. I mean, it's a beautiful vest, hooded vest, or whatever I've never paid this sort of amount for clothing before, but if that's your cup of tea, that's great. But I don't know if you could see that, but these items, none of these items are lesser than $300, and so when you think in terms of protecting your business, the mindset we should have is, if you're not going to make money doing it, why do it? So there's a difference between just not doing it and that relationship being there for the client or with the client, and you may want to help them, but you have to calculate in your head, the risk versus the reward. So sometimes you'll end up having to refuse the work. Now, in my mind, I was still trying to go with this item here. I know that we could DTF print on this, but it has this fur or faux fur lining on the inside. And what you have to do is try to figure out if it's going to be worth it in the job, because all of these facets of printing don't go perfectly right. I have to replace this jacket, and so it doesn't matter what I would charge them. It's not going to make sense for me to print on these items. Doesn't mean we can't try. So just in case you're wondering if you got clickbaited into this video, you didn't. So for those of you who have stuck around this far, I've had to have a talk with the client and let them know that I cannot print on these items. It doesn't mean we can't DTF print on them, which this has a different, like the piling or whatever. It's a higher, like the fur. It's just nearly impossible. But I'll show you how you can refuse the work, but still offer encouragement at the same time and still help them out. So I'll toss these to the side here. I want to be careful with these because I don't work for Michael Kors. So I don't want to support Michael Kors. I want to support my family. So I don't want to have to buy and replace any of these items. So I'll just be careful here. Okay, so back to the video at hand. So what I chose to do is educate the consumer. So I talked to the client and I just let her know, hey, I would love to help you out with this, but I just cannot do this sort of job because of the risk factors involved. I don't want to upset you, and I don't want to be upset, because I'd be all over town trying to locate these items in the sizes and hope that they have them just to replace it, just to start back at square one. Now, they did bring me about 20 of these vests, these Hurley vests here. And again, I don't supply items that have branded logos on them and print on them because of the reseller accounts that I do have. We aren't supposed to do that. So if a customer provides them to us, I will, within reason. So these Hurley jackets, and again, they brought me about 20 of these, and this price tag, if it focused, hopefully, that's right. And I hope that it focused again. Let me just tap on that. Let me check it here. Okay, so we're back. So these jackets or vests here, these are $80 vests. It's still a high risk, but I have printed on this sort of material. It has sort of a sheen to it, but I went ahead and did a test, and I said, hey, I can print on the vest, but I cannot guarantee the work. Has nothing to do with the quality of the print, but rather whatever coating that they spray on these vests, I'm uncertain as to whether or not we will actually, hang on, someone's here.
I forgot to text you.
That's okay. I'll just cut it out. I had a client bring me some Michael Kors stuff and wanted me to print on it. And I had to refuse the work.
Yeah.
But, I mean, these are $80 vests, but I told her that, you know, I can't really guarantee the work, but I'm good on in terms of the quality of the print,
Right.
Because they have these cross seams here.
Yeah.
I don't like. I mean, even screen printing, it's a nightmare for them to want to do that. So I told her I would do the vest, but this other stuff there's a faux mink vest and all this other stuff, and I'm like, price tags on these are like $400, and I mean, if everything doesn't go perfectly, I'm already at a deficit. So yeah.
I mean, do you ever like say to them like, hey, if you bring me one to do practice on, so I can get everything right?
And that's what we did with the vest. I printed on the front and back, and I just let her know, hey, you can do your wash test and everything, but they have a company party coming up. So
this is the first real opportunity that you and Lacey are going to have to potential division and different mindsets on balance between work and home and family and all that, you know. So anytime you have questions, okay, I'm your pastor that married you, so I'm here for you through thick and thin. Work and family is always a struggle with families.
Yeah, we had a long talk. It's actually yesterday morning. So we had a long talk, and I was just like, how could I be a better husband and this and that? And she was like, well, no, it's not necessarily that, but you were a lot more helpful when she was born versus kind of now. And I said, well, we didn't know that you weren't going to get your maternity leave was going to be unpaid, and then we still have to cover the insurance, the health insurance. That's $1,500 out of her check, and she doesn't have a check, so we're still responsible for that. So I didn't complain. I just knew I needed to work harder and get these jobs done so that no matter what happens, we're okay. So we just kind of had that talk where she wasn't really thinking in terms of, like that. But that I told her that doesn't mean that I can't, as your husband, I have to be all of those things. I have to be split up into just making it work. Because there's people like Steve Harvey that hosts like 6 radio shows. He has a family, he has brands, businesses flying all over, but he still has the same 24 hours I do. So it's kind of like, I don't want to excuse my way out of being there where she needs me to be, when she needs me to be, and being who she needs me to be, and what I want to be. I said, I love to relax. Like, I don't like working 24/7. I'm workaholic, but I don't like it. It's out of duty, and I know what I need to do. And I said, these people are like looking at me as a person that they can get printing advice from. People want to order inks and stuff, and so that's like a $400, $500 sale that I'll lose if I don't respond to this guy and just send him rates in an email. But when I get home and you see me set up my computer, you just see me, man, you just came straight home. No, I came straight home to do it so that I could send it send these invoices out, and then I'm done. So it's, we've always had
and you'll figure, you won't be able to you won't be able to talk everything out in the beginning, or you won't be able to talk everything out and make it smooth at first.
Yeah.
So some things you'll have to walk through and experience it, and then realize, okay, we didn't do it right this way this season. So, and just remember seasons. All right, just remember everything's seasons. Just like God marked time with seasons. Your marriage, your year, your business, your family, everything's going to be marked in seasons as well.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a season where you're busier than others, and that's when she needs to realize that you're not going to be there for some of the things that you're always there for.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be some seasons where you're not as busy, and you're going to be able to say, hey, why don't you go take a break? Why don't you go get a manicure or pedicure while I watch the baby? And you're gonna and you just learn the ebb and flow of marriage and life. And a lot of people, I mentioned the word balance earlier, but it's not always about balance. Okay, in fact, our very being is all about imbalance. When we walk, it's all about forcefully putting ourselves in imbalance so we can walk balanced. But we have to put ourselves in a state of unbalance first before
we can
get that momentum going. Okay, so I like to think of it more as a blender.
It's a good word. This is your calling, man.
So stay encouraging. Always validate her feelings. Validate her feelings before you throw in your solution.
Yeah. I want to cut that out. It's still rolling. I was doing the YouTube video. I'm like, man, that's so good. I'm like, oh no.
Oh, you're still videoing?
Well, I was recording a video, so that's why when you first came in, I said I'll cut it out, and then I was like, man, that was such a good word. And I'm like, maybe I don't know, but yeah.
I like your little setup here.
Yeah, that's super improvised.
Oh yeah, you got all that on, man.
Yeah.
J-Dan Gum here.
Yeah, well, hey, you might as well come back and introduce them. Somebody might see this. You never know. Yeah, we are small businesses.
What's up?
Now, this is J-Dan Gum. He runs a ministry called Forgiven Felons. We've been, good friends for a long time.
Good friends for a long time. You created our original logo that we still use today.
He married me and my wife.
Yep. And now we're cranking it up, giving you more business, and you're going to teach a class for us, for our felons coming out of prison.
Yeah.
Teaching them how to do all this stuff.
And I haven't even told them about that because I'm not that sort of person. But yeah, that's what we're working on. So
there you go.
We can complain about what's happening in our country, or we can do our due diligence to give back and feed.
That's right.
Feed the soul and the heart and the spirit and mind. So
yeah,
it starts with us.
Say hi to everybody. Snowman.
All right.
Love you, man.
Love you too.
See you, bud.
I appreciate the support and being patient. So we'll get it.
Dude, I already knew. That's why I wasn't really like. I was like, he's got a lot on his plate right now.
But we will get it done. Okay, some of you say that you love that my channel is honest, and we are honest. So I may or may have not cut some of this out or that out, but it'll probably just be to be respectful of the time. I do want my videos to be structured. So where we left off was actually the vest. So these are $80 vests. So and what I might do is I may put that snippet in the YouTube membership area. That way, if you want to see what happened, you could do that, and then this video will be more concise and just thorough. That way, it's not, I'm not boring you guys. So I'll probably splice it and do it that way. So we have these jackets, and I told her I can't necessarily honor the work, but if you need me to print one, we can print one. And then you can let me know how they wash. Do you wash test? Well, they have a company party coming up. So they didn't want to do that, but I gave them that option. Now, what you might want to do if the relationship isn't there is actually put it in a contract and have a certain clause there, just like one of my fellow YouTubers, she told me that something happened on an order with her, but she didn't have a clause in there, and then it kind of came back to bite her a little bit. So we all bump our heads, but to avoid anything like that, what I told her is I can go ahead and print these because you need them for this party. We'll get it done. And on these high fashion, high ticket or big ticket, high fashion items, I don't necessarily feel comfortable printing on them, but she said, you mean to tell me there's nothing you can do? And again, she's used to me just making the best stuff and coming through for them. But if I'm not going to make money doing it, why do it? And the risks outweigh the reward, because I could finish 6 jobs before having to drive around town to replace 1 out of 4 items that retail at no less than $300. So I hope that makes sense there. But I didn't want to clickbait you again. These are $80 jackets, and I'm printing all 20 of these. And then they can tell me how they like them or tell me how they love them and everything. So it's called a compromise. Now, even on these items, I recommend it. Hey, I can prepare a digitizing file for embroidery, but I honestly don't even believe that an embroiderer would touch this because of the same reason. If it's not loaded on the hoop right or whatever, or there's a misstitch or something that happens, they're held liable for that. But what I would say is let me prepare a digitizing file for you at scale, exactly what you would like for the company logo, the insignia, to be printed at. And then we can send it off to get it done in the form of a patch. And then she would have to do her due diligence to try to find a really, really great seamstress. Or she could find someone that has impeccable skill with the sewing machine. And then they can actually sew or stitch that patch onto these garments, because there's less risk involved when they can do it by hand or by machine. There's more control with that, and it would be out of my shop and back into her hands. So that's, I guess I could also show you how we press these here really briefly. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so give me a moment. Let me get the press set up, and then I'll show you how we actually achieve this press, because there's a lot going on here that you have to look out for, or we will be replacing $80 items. So let me get set up here. Okay, so in the background you may have seen where I had a vest on the other press, on the Pro press, but I'm just laying them over there as we finish them. So I'll show you how we press the fronts of these and the precautionary measures that we take in order to do that. So now on an item like this, when there is no margin for error, this is what I do. So these zippers here will undoubtedly melt. 100% of the time these zippers would melt if we just place them on the press like this. So what I do is I have a chair over here. It's off camera. You can't see this chair right here, but I have it to kind of support the side of this vest. I have this Teflon pillow here, and then I almost kind of thread it a little bit, make sure everything is flat. And again, the reason why I really didn't want to print on these initially is because of this cross stitching pattern here, because I try to avoid printing over the seams, but I think it looks really, really good. And they didn't want to do the wash test. So now that we know that we have an arduous task at hand, we're just going to go with the flow. Okay, so imagine this being blank and we have a transfer here. What we would do is actually lay Teflon pillow here, thread the vest, put the transfer down after we trim it, then we would put 2 pieces of double-sided tape on it, and that's just to keep it taut, or to keep it basically taped down, because when we press this, it's going to shift just a little bit. So we'll do that. But now I need to protect these, so I have a flat or smaller Teflon pillow that you would actually use for the inside of hoodie arms if you're pressing the arms. And I actually would cover the outer edge of the zipper here, but not so far over to where we don't get a good downforce with the heat press here. So we do that, and then again we would cover the transfer, and then we'll press down. But you test your pressure before you actually go down with the initial press. And then for the backs, what I did was we unzip the vest and then thread it again, which is pretty easy since it's a vest. We don't have to deal with sleeves. And this, again, another reason why I was just iffy about doing this is because if you can see it here, it creates these little channels where it actually puckers under the heat over a certain amount of time. But we need that increased dwell time to actually press this. And we're pressing at 285 degrees Fahrenheit with a very heavy pressure because we need to actually stamp this in here into the seams. So with this, nothing else special needed. Again, we have the Teflon pillow underneath here, and we just ensure that it's actually behind it and not slid, and to make sure it hasn't slid down on any. So from there, we would actually just press it, let it cool down, do the cold peel, and then recover, repress, put it in the stack on the other press, and this item is finished. So I hope everything's focused and that you can see me well. So the key with this is just when you get items that you haven't sourced, just gauge it, see if it's worth it, and don't tell the client it's not worth it, but just explain it to them in a way that they can understand, to where you're not rude. And even though I wasn't able to print on these items, I didn't want to take the risk. I still have to digitize that art file, the vector that we made for their logo. And I created those logos, by the way, from scratch. But what we did was we actually gave her an option to where we can go ahead and create that digitized file that any embroiderer needs in order to create that patch for you. Once we get the patch, it will be up to you to do your due diligence to find the seamstress that will actually sew it on. So the customer is going to be happy once the work is finished. And if she isn't happy, it's not going to be because of me. So risk versus reward. And also, if you're not going to make money doing it, why do it? I might as well just go and get a 9-to-5 and not have to worry about all of the other facets of being an entrepreneur, if at the end of the day I'm only going to either be at a deficit or I'm going to break even. So I hope that's helped you. I appreciate all of the love and support. I hope that I addressed anything. I didn't mean to clickbait you, but I don't want to take the risk on items like this, and I feel like I have a due diligence, I've said that 18 times in this video, but I have a duty, a sworn duty, to at least let you guys know what to expect, especially if you're a young entrepreneur. If you're going to do it, get a contract, make sure they understand, see if they can provide an additional piece for you, or refuse the work. I appreciate all of the love and support. Thanks, and as always, stay elegant. Okay, so fast forwarding to a year after the initial video was filmed. We're in the new suite, but you'll see more videos on that here coming up soon. We actually were commissioned or given this job by the same company that you've seen here in the video so far. But again, you know, we have these high ticket items again, you know, where we have the limits of DTF. Sometimes I will refuse the work, but for something like this, I know that we won't singe this. This isn't anything crazy, so it's a high ticket item, as well as the Under Armour here. So these are expensive items. We've already done our initial press, but I can choose to accept or refuse the work based on the limits of DTF printing. This isn't focusing very well. So we've already done the second press on this and nothing is singed, everything is good. But just take precautionary measures and also educated risks, you know, when it comes to your business, and know when to refuse the work. So we're gonna go ahead and finish pressing these, but I just wanted to show you how to, you know, how to basically, I want to talk to you guys. So I basically want to be able to show you when to refuse the work and basically how to communicate with the client according to the items that they're supplying you. Because if you're not going to make money doing it, why do it? So I'll have more of these videos, especially in the mastery class that I've been working on about educating the consumer. And we'll do honest customer pickups, whether they like it or whether they need me to adjust some things. I'll keep everything transparent with you. So I'm pretty excited to just look at the progress we have here. You know, my daughter pretty much takes up all of the space here, but yeah, so we'll be pumping out more videos here. P6000 will be up and running soon. I'll have maintenance videos on the P5000 if they're not already uploaded by the time you see this video. And 9890 is going to be for sale after we get the P6000 up and running. I have a lot of ideas for that, but we'll just sell those. That's too much to try to teach, and there's too many nuances to that, so I don't want to confuse people in the community. Okay, so moving forward, we are going to go ahead and tape these according to what the client recommended. We'll get them pressed, and then we'll close this thing out. Thank you for tuning in and for being patient with me as we get caught up on all of our uploads and as well as the mastery class. Okay, so we've already double pressed this, and we've pressed the front side. So this will be the first one that we do next. That we actually press next. The large will actually be RNA masonry. We have our tape here. I don't usually use this tape. This is cheap Hobby Lobby tape. I usually use the good stuff. The tape that it's more narrow and it has like an amber type color. I think that's a better quality heat resistant tape here. And I'm just placing these where they ask me to. Actually, I would have made a mistake here. This is, I'm trying to film and talk at the same time. This is actually the one that is RNA masonry. So I'm glad I dodged that bullet. Again, that's why you want to gauge the job and make sure, you know, that you can do this, which I have a good relationship with them. It wouldn't be a big deal to them. So, but I definitely don't want to have to explain that, you know. So we need to make sure that this will actually fit on the platen when we go and do this. But this is where they would like this to be placed here. So actually we've got to come down a little bit. And I'm just eyeballing it. I'm centering it. Making sure everything is straight. And with the shoulder drop, I just want to make sure we compensate for that. So I actually come in a little bit. And a little bit more. Okay, so this is good. And on the back side, they like the upper shoulder. And when the customer gives you items like this that are high ticket items, you can always charge more for them. Because, you know, you have to account for high shoulder. Okay. You have to account for the waist. And also, which the waist should already be factored into the cost of your prints, but you definitely want to account for if anything goes wrong. For example, having to replace an item. Let's say that I actually pressed LSI to this item instead of the RNA masonry. Let's just assume that they really wanted this done. You know, I would have to account, when I charge them, I would have to account for replacing this item, but I have to go and actually go to the polo store or whichever outlet or wherever they got these from, and I would actually be held responsible for that. So who pays for that? Or you could just say, hey, you know, I don't really feel comfortable with printing on these, and you can do about 4 or 5 jobs, and the time it takes to prep these and make sure everything's good and do your tests, and also factoring in the risk factor. Okay. Feel like calling the client because I just want to make sure they don't want those in the center of the back, because they told me to put them there, but I just like to be thorough. That way, you know, we don't press them exactly as they told us, and then we find out that he wants the other ones in the center. Because on the Under Armour jacket, I'll just show you here, on the Under Armour jacket, it has this little Under Armour insignia here, and that may be why he wanted this offset, but I don't know if he would want the polos to be printed like that. Even though they told us to do them all the same, I just need to call and confirm that.
Your call has been forwarded to an
Okay, so we'll just wait to hear back. I'll go ahead and press the Under Armour, but I have a sneaky suspicion that this is why he wanted this over here, and he just doesn't remember that the back of the polos don't really, or the polo jackets don't really have that insignia there. So always just double check with the client, and I'm just peeling this there. Okay, that C didn't really press there. I don't really like pressing these multiple times, especially on the higher ticket items, because they're so synthetic, but I do need to make sure that C adheres. Okay, let's do that again. And we're at 300 degrees Fahrenheit at around 15 seconds. Okay, I think that's good. Sometimes the text travels a bit faster than a call. Let me just shoot her a text real fast. That way we can get on to the next job for the day. Okay, we should be ready to peel this here. Let's see how the C does. L, L, C. Okay. Now, I just wanted to make sure everything adhered well. This is good. And I'll just do a quick press just to seal that C in. And we haven't singed the garment, which is good news. I really don't like doing multiple presses on these synthetic materials, on the more finer materials here. That's good enough. Seems like maybe she just texted me back. Let's see. Okay. So she confirmed that he would like them to be offset to the right. I just wanted to make sure. It's always good to double check. In the construction world, they like to say measure twice and cut once. He does want me to add their phone number to it. She sent me another one here. Oh, she said, wonderful, thank you. Okay, so let me go back and I have some prints already run of their number. So just tape those there. And we'll go ahead and run these. So I already have these printed with their number on there. So I'll replace these with what we've already taped down. I'm glad. See, if I hadn't double checked with them, we would have, well, they probably would have been okay with them. But it's always good to check. Okay, so this is going to be a rather tight fit here. Just adding the name to this one here. Okay. Should probably just cut this. Just trying to make sure these were the same size as I remember. And see, you know, what our preference is will likely be in stark contrast to the customers. And so for me, I would never display my number on something like this because it's, I don't know, but it's only my job. It's not my garment. So I like to say in printing, I pretty much do what I'm told, and I make the client happy within reason. So my grandmother says, if you like it, I love it. That's how she explains it. Man, we're cutting it close. I kind of want to put some foam underneath this. Okay, let's see. I'll get everything taped down and then we'll run it. I'll fool with this last. Okay, I need what, 3 more? I usually print extra for these sort of times. And I talked him out of printing the slogan on the back of these before, but we did about 600 shirts before he decided not to include the slogan on there. So, I mean, sometimes I speak up, but it's not until, you know, we print 400 shirts, 500-600 shirts. It's probably more than that actually, until he realizes that he sees his guys walking around and he's like, I don't know if I like that anymore. So, oh, now this one is larger. But the number will be fine. So I'll just add the number. We're at about almost a 1/4 inch. This takes a bit longer here. This is where the better tape will come in handy. You don't always have that luxury. And it's a mess for me, you know, to go back and do this, but I still don't regret it because I needed to communicate with the customer, and that's the best thing for them. So the approach that I take is that they're paying for it, and I want it to be near perfect. I want it to be exactly as they envision it. At first I thought I could just trim this off and then put it, but this is bigger and my color output is slightly different than what we have here, and I want them all to match perfectly. But I also don't want to stop and rerun these layouts either, and we're pressed for time because the owner of this business has to catch a flight this evening, and I just got the job a couple of days ago. I haven't done this sort of piecing together since vinyl, so I call these a nod to humble beginnings. Okay, and the RNA masonry doesn't have a number on the back, so we're good on that. I think we're all set. It took me about 20 minutes to get everything settled in terms of the call with them to verify it with the customer, with the client, and to verify the placement, and we're ready to press. Okay, back to square one, and again we're pressing at 300 degrees Fahrenheit at around 15 seconds. So I want to start with this one. I think I want to press this sideways so that we free ourselves of these little pleated stitches here. I think the proper term would be pleated stitching. Man, I really don't want to risk that 9. We were good as long as that star was over, but the 9 is kind of making it a little difficult. It's like I know better. Let me go ahead and try to put some foam or something underneath here. Okay, we just moved into the suite next door, so I'm just gonna put one of these little mini t-shirts underneath here to account for the little gap. The only foam that I have is the Teflon pillow. So that fell around here. Let's do this like that. Yeah, I'll feel a little bit better about that print. If we just raise that area where the 9 is gonna fall a little bit higher than the seam. That might be better. And what I'm trying to do is just get this seam to fall behind the seam of the mini t-shirt. And I think I'll just hold this. That's better. It's all about problem solving. Now I'll just hold this while we press it and hope that's enough down force. And then I'll also keep it held afterward. That way it doesn't spread while the transfer is still warm. Okay, I think that's gonna be okay. So let this cool a little bit. But again, I can see some minor buckling here, so I just want to be careful with pressing this more than one time. So I want to give this enough time to cool. That should be okay. Let me give it some help here. And the other ones will be easier to press. This one just happens to fall right where the seam is. The reason why I'm very careful is just because, again, it's a high ticket item, it's a high dollar item, and I just want to do my due diligence in making sure that when they go to wash these or send them to the cleaners or whatever they do, we have a better chance at just keeping the quality. I think that's enough because it already started to buckle there. Oh, and now it's okay. It's less noticeable. Okay. So this is a success here. I'm glad this is the only one like this. I think this is a little dark, but that's okay. And here's the front. Hopefully we don't have much of a hassle with these others. And this is exactly why I wanted to use the hat press, because it's not only the like the only thing to watch out for in these is not just the outside, but these have lining on the inside as well. So I just try to be extra careful with that. Seems really good. And while that's cooling, we'll try not to disturb the front side, but we need to smash this out as well. Trying not to press the seams. Okay, that's gonna have to make it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab this other one here. And those are actually ready to peel, but I'll go ahead and let those fully cool off. Okay, I'm glad I felt that. The lining actually had a little buckle in it. And again, I don't want to replace one of these. That's crazy. But, you know, once you start printing and you have a good relationship or rapport, if you want to call it that, with your client or the customer, they tend to believe you can print on anything. And so while it's sort of flattering, we just have to be careful and try to do our best within reason. You know, you don't want to get yourself in a predicament where you're driving all across town looking for a replacement to any of these. That's why I double and triple and quadruple check to prevent that. So sometimes I have to tell them no, and sometimes I'll tell them I'll do what I can, and they understand. And also, I think some of this is a matter of just educating the consumer, as I mentioned before. And again, that video was shot, that portion of the previous portion of this video was shot around a year ago. So I need to get that uploaded. But when this job came in, I really wanted to just update you guys on that. I figured, hey, let me just do an impromptu video or an extension of that, and we'll put it all together so that the title doesn't seem clickbaity. So I want to actually give you value. But yeah, when she brought the Michael Kors and stuff in, I did, you know, I was kind of just apprehensive to even go down that road. And to be honest with you, when customers and clients, when they like to provide their items like this, I don't really like printing on brands that have, you know, on other brands, but this is their company logo. These are their personal shirts or garments, but I wouldn't go and, you know, buy Nike or any other type of brand and then print on that brand for them. This is just like a courtesy. Okay, those other ones should be ready to peel, and we'll be done. So let's see how that's really dark, I just noticed that. So that LLC it was a problem for us before. Let's see if all of the transfer did well. That's good. I guess I'll press it like that. There we go. Again, that liner behind it is trying to buckle here. It's nice and clean. Nice and clean, and it's sealed in there. I don't know about the top of that LSI star. Okay, I need to press that again and really watch that. Okay, everything else is good. Because this adhesive is already sort of set, I'm gonna go ahead and place this on the platen here and actually try to put some tape there. Just to keep this flush and prevent it from curling, and hopefully if it does fade, it just fades a little bit. because I want to remelt that adhesive that didn't set, and we should be okay. Okay, there we go. And I'll press that for a bit longer. There we go. And I actually want to wait for this to cool before I peel this. And see, I don't know if you can see this, but we've pressed it so many times that the adhesive kind of spread a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, but the adhesive spread just a little bit along the edges. And so, but that's still okay. But I definitely don't want to press this again, so I'll wait until that cools before we peel that. Okay, hopefully this is cool enough to peel. I'll touch that platen there. That's good. Just want to hit this one more time. To make sure that's good. All right, we dodged that bullet. Okay, now all that's left is to just repackage everything. Okay, thank you for all of the love and support and people that have supported me thus far. Mastery class will probably be out by the time you see this video. Thank you for everything. I appreciate all of the people from all over the world signing in and looking at the site and everything. We'll have some stuff ready here pretty soon. I don't really want to speak too much on it just yet, but we are making progress and I am excited. Again, educate the consumer, gauge whether or not you can replace the items or if you want to commit that sort of time to do it. Because if you're not in business to make money, why spend the time doing it? Thanks, and as always, stay elegant, Print Society.